Hi, I'm Chris from Lecture Owl, and welcome to Music for All. In this 10-part course, I'm going to teach you how to play guitar, from picking up a guitar for the very first time, all the way through to playing your very first song. In today's episode, we're going to talk about writing lyrics, and we'll touch on self-expression. We've made it pretty far together, and I hope that you've learned a lot. There's only a bit more to go over before sending you off on your own, writing your first song. Okay, let's talk about writing lyrics. Now, when you're writing lyrics, again, as before, there are no rules. You can write what you want, however you want. What we're going to go over, however, is a set of tools that will help you think about what you want to write and to write it in typical Western music fashion. So, when you're writing lyrics, you are effectively telling a story. And as a storyteller, you're taking the listener on a journey. The beauty is that that story can go wherever you want, transporting them to some fantasy land or some urban setting late at night, or right to where you are writing the lyrics right now. It's all up to you. You might want to think about, what do you want to get across to your listener? What concept, theme, message, or emotion do you want to share with them? Are you wanting to talk about something political? Or, is it positive or negative? Are you wanting to share an emotion? What kind of emotion is it? Or maybe you want to tell a story about someone who did something. Maybe you want to tell a story about someone who did something to someone or to you. So the first thing that you want to think about is, what do you want to get across? Let's say we want to write a song about a man giving a bottle of cola to a bear. And that's not something I'd recommend doing, by the way. One thing that you need to consider is point of view. What is the point of view of the narrator? So the narrator could be telling you about a scene unfolding in front of them, and if so, they are omniscient, know everything, and are describing what they see in front of them. This is called the third-person narrative. For example, a man gave a bottle of cola to a bear. The bear was so happy he thanked him. The man was happy. Now the second point of view is the second-person narrative, and that is where we're referring to our subject as you. So we're addressing the listener as the subject of the song. This is a great format if we're looking for a bit of intimacy with the listener, but not too much. So we would say that as, you gave the bottle of cola to the bear. The bear was happy. He thanked you. You were so happy. Now, if we move in just a bit further, this is the first-person narrative. And this is similar to the second-person narrative, but much more intimate. Now you're telling the audience about how you feel, or about what you did. I gave a bottle of cola to the bear. He was so happy, he thanked me. I was so happy. Now the final point of view is direct address, and this is where you and the audience are the most intimate. In this point of view, they are the bear, or in the position where the bear was. I gave a bottle of cola to you. You were so happy you thanked me. I was so happy. So asking these questions prepares you to provide a journey for the listener. Who are you to them? Who are they to you? Whom is talking to whom? And what are they talking about? This brings us to our next set of tools, 6 questions. To help you flesh out the rest of the story, you're going to want to ask 6 questions. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Let's return to our lyrics about a person giving a bottle of cola to a bear. Who? So we've basically answered this question, but maybe we might expand it with, who are we talking to? Who is the person giving the bottle to the bear? Who is the bear? Is the bear a literal or figurative term? What? Maybe the bottle of cola is a metaphor for friendship. Is that the only thing that is happening? What else might be happening? What does it mean? Where? Where is this happening? Is this in a real place, or does it exist figuratively? When? When is this happening? Is it in the past, present, future? Why? Why is this happening? Why is the bottle of cola being given? Is it a token of friendship? Maybe it's poisoned. Maybe the bear was just thirsty and the narrator is just doing a good deed. How? How is this happening? Maybe it was done at a zoo and the bottle of cola was given to the bear with a pole. Maybe it's all metaphorical and it's a snippet of a phone conversation. Okay, so we've talked about the 6 questions, point of view, and the main point or theme you want to get across. Next, let's talk about dynamics and structure. As we mentioned in the previous lesson, a song is all about dynamics, with the choruses typically being the high point of the song and the verses being a lower point. Typically in music, the chorus talks about the main point or the theme, and the verses tell the story, and the chorus is sung by many voices. It's like the chorus is like the audience's representative in the story. The chorus is telling you what is going on. It kind of happens on a different level of reality compared to the verses. It moves a song to a new level. So if the choruses are this high point, then the verses are a bit less intense and they focus on moving the story forward. The verse is telling us the fundamental story or fundamental feeling of the song. The verse gives us the basic information of what's happening and moves us along. So let's continue using our cola example. Let's say that our central theme is the happiness of giving, and we are telling it using direct address. I gave you a cola and it made me feel good. Yeah, made me feel good. Giving makes me feel good. So we have our central idea. Now let's delve into the verses. Maybe we have 3 verses and we want each one of them to talk about the situation from a different perspective, or maybe a different moment in time, like past, present, and future. You could say something like, there once was a bear who lived in a zoo. He lived under green trees, boy what a view. The summers were warm, the weather was hot. He said, boy, a cold cola would sure hit the spot. Now something we haven't talked about yet was rhyme scheme or number of lines. So the number of lines we use can create a feeling of stability or instability. For example, if we use even numbers of lines and rhyme cleanly, things sound very stable. But if we use an odd number of lines or don't follow with a rhyme, it might create a feeling of instability and make the listener say, okay, now what? What happens next? For example, there once was a bear who lived in a zoo. He lived under green trees. Boy, what a view. Summers were warm, the weather was hot. He said, boy, a cold cola would sure hit the spot. You were there, cola in hand. Now, when I finish that, you can feel the imbalance. It doesn't quite settle. You're kind of wondering what comes next. So there's a lot more to delve into here, but for the sake of time, let's move on to rhyme. Rhyming is another very powerful tool in lyric writing, as it creates a visual roadmap and tells us where things are going, highlights things, and creates contrast. So there's several different rhyme schemes we can use, and depending on what we want to do, we can employ different ones. Now, for this course, let's say that every new rhyme sound we make is represented by a letter, so A, B, C, and so forth. Also, let's add an X as a non-rhyming word. So the verse lyrics we talked about before were A, B, B. Zoo, view, hot, spot. There once was a bear who lived in a zoo. He lived under green trees, boy, what a view. The summers were warm, the weather was hot. He said, boy, a cola would sure hit the spot. Now we could change that around to A, B, and it would sound something like zoo, hot, view, spot. There once was a bear who lived in a zoo. The summers were warm, the weather was hot. He lived under green trees, boy, what a view. He said, boy, a cola would sure hit the spot. Now some other rhyme schemes that you can use are XA, zoo, hot, trees, spot. A, zoo, view, true, blue. AXAA, zoo, trees, true, blue. ABBA, zoo, hot, spot, view. AXXA, zoo, trees, spot, view, and the list goes on. Now that we've talked about all of this, let's talk about writing your first lyrics. What I like to do is first decide what I'm going to write about. I'll write out my central theme, idea, or concept I want to explore. Then I'll just brainstorm, write down all of the things that come to mind when you think about that theme. Sometimes I like to write cool sounding words that evoke a specific emotion or are related to that concept. Then I'll write words that rhyme. Now once you've finished brainstorming, circle the ideas or lines that you like, ask the 6 questions, decide on your point of view, and start writing. You could start with your first line and see how things flow organically, or you could start with your chorus, write that, then use that to write your first verse. The choice is up to you. Once you've written your first line, experiment with the next. See how using different rhyming schemes sounds. Play, play, play. Play until you find something that sounds right or goes where you want it to go. Now for putting the words over music, the choice is yours. It's completely up to you whether you want to make the words fit the music or make the music fit the words. I personally like to write out the music first. Say we alternate between an A major and a D major chord. So I'll play one bar of A major, then one bar of D major, and repeat that. There once was a bear who lived in a zoo. He lived under green trees. Boy, what a view. The summers were warm, the weather was hot. He said the cola would sure hit the spot. Now, there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to writing lyrics, but let's move on and talk about self-expression. So, what is self-expression? Essentially, it's just expressing oneself through thoughts and feelings, revealing who you are and everything you believe to be your reality. Now, I'm not even sure that self-expression can be taught, so to speak, because by saying do this or don't do that, I'm already placing parameters on what you can or can't do and how you can or can't express yourself. And so there's even an argument to be made by learning songs and lyric structure that we're already limiting our true self-expression, but that's a can of worms that we're not going to go into here. So what I am going to do here is just give you some questions for you to ask yourself, to think about, and to help you think about how to express yourself. So, who are you? What do you want to write about? What feelings are you experiencing? How could you share those feelings? Do you want to share those feelings? If you do, how could you write about them? What would they say? How does that make you feel? Who would you want to say them to? Who is your authentic self? What is on your mind lately? What is something you want to tell someone? What do you want to tell the audience? What do you love? What do you hate? How do you feel in this current moment? So these are just a few of the questions you can ask yourself, and it may be very easy for you to write lyrics, and it might feel like it's a true reflection of yourself, or you might find it really hard and you might struggle. Maybe you won't like what comes out, and maybe you'll struggle and write, and regardless of how it happens, that's totally okay. Music isn't really about the destination, but the journey, so enjoy all of these moments. Now, we've already talked about improvisation and playing along with a backing track and experimenting. And that in itself is also a form of self-expression, so it's likely that you're already pretty good at expressing yourself. And so as you go through this process, remember, you're not going to be great right away. It's going to take time and practice. There's a reason that they say it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert. Thanks for watching episode 9. I hope you found today's lesson helpful and valuable. If you have any questions or for more information, feel free to visit us at lectureowl.com. Next, in episode 10, we're going to put everything together and guide you through writing a song using our demo as an example, and we'll finish off the lesson with a demonstration of that demo song.